Don lemony and delicious.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, Leilani of Barbados. Whilst we are awaiting the verdict on whether Meghan will achieve an audience with Prince Charles, I want to talk about the last fallout from the funeral of Queen Elizabeth II. I do read all your comments, and I saw comments about what happened with this certain anchor from this certain news station in America getting cancelled for asking about reparations. And of course, we're talking about Don Lemon. I think Don Lemon is lovely, but I don't know why he went outside of his pay grade and took on a scholar like hilaryfordwich. I don't know if he checked out her bio or her resume. She's a golfer. She can do anything. She can do golf. She can do finance. She did a lot of different things, a lot of different news outlets. He decides to come to her and ask her about reparations. And I have a lot to say about that because he felt like the Queen's funeral was so expensive that it should have gone to reparations. Mark is her business development consultants company, and she's done so much internationally. She's a bright woman. She delivered her retort to Don Lemon just in a very calm, factual way. What she said was, well, let's go through it.
Well, this is coming when, there's all of this wealth and is facing rising costs of living, a living crisis, austerity budget cuts, and so on. And then you have those who are asking for reparations for colonialism.
There are all these other countries in the world that were involved in slavery. In terms of a business, it was not a kidnapping. It was a trade. And these were businessmen. They were not military armed guards pillaging and, they were just coming for their commodity. The commodity was there on the beach waiting. Whoever traded with the Europeans were from that land. We have Equatorial Guinea, where they speak Spanish. The Spanish went in there. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but like Curacao, Aruba, they're speaking Dutch. And of course we have French, like Martinique and so on and so forth. Everybody was involved in the slave trade at that time. But he thinks the funeral looks so nice, Don Lemon, that you have to give him some money for that. Anyway, let's continue with this.
And they're wondering, $100 billion, $24 billion here and there, $500 million there. Some people want to be paid back, and members of the public are wondering, why are we suffering when you are, you have all of this vast wealth? Those are legitimate concerns.
What a covetous mindset. It's like when you sell your house and all your friends think you're super rich and somehow have cash just sitting underneath your mattress. And it's like, okay, dinner's on you because you're rich now. Can I borrow some money? Not thinking about you or thinking about that money might be earmarked for something else. It's like a crabs in a barrel mentality. It's just so typical of this demographic. It's ridiculous.
Well, I think you're right about reparations in terms of if people want it, though, what they need to do is you always need to go back to the beginning of a supply chain. Where was the beginning of the supply chain?
I like what she's talking about with the supply chain thing, because I think in these nowadays times, we tend to focus on instant gratification. It's like click, 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 click. Okay, Google said this. Okay, done. The
entire world, when slavery was taking place, which was the first nation in the world that abolished slavery? The first nation in the world to abolish it. It was started by William Wilberforce, was the British. In Great Britain, they abolished slavery. 2,000 naval men died on the high seas trying to stop slavery. Why? Because the African kings were rounding up their own people. They had them on cages waiting in the beaches. No one was running into Africa to get them. And I think you're totally right. If reparations need to be paid, we need to go right back to the beginning of that supply chain and say who was rounding up their own people and having them handcuffed in cages. Absolutely. That's where they should start. And maybe, I don't know, the descendants of those families where they died in the high seas trying to stop the slavery, that those families should receive something too, I think, at the same time.
As a reporter of his level, he should have known what the answer would look like from the person he was asking it to. Don Lemon seemed really high-strung the whole time. Like he had something on his chest, This must have been it. Wrong person though. So she's saying that if you're going to go back in history and you cannot cherry pick who suffered more than who, that's a fair point to me. There is slave trade still going on all over the world. For example, the Filipinos, the Indonesians, they think they're going to work in a hotel, like the Burj or whatever hotel. And they think, oh my gosh, let me get all the money I can get together from my entire extended family and buy a ticket to get there. Because once I get there and learn how to fold towels, I'm going to be making 10x what people make in Philippines. And then they get there and an Arab woman is like slapping them in their face with her slipper. And they don't even have any money. They're indentured. You have people like Dr. Shola Mos Shogamimu from Nigeria. British born, comes from one of these kings that would have traded back in the day. Shola Mos Jogbab Mimu is married and has 3 daughters. According to her website, her grandfather, Oba Alfred Babington Ashe, was the Nigerian monarch of Ogede Rome. Went to Oxford, went to Cambridge, went to wherever she went to. Where she went to? Cambridge. And is just spewing all of this. We were kidnapped. We were this and that. Your family is literally the same family. Huge supporter of Oprah with Meghan Harry interview, by the way. She is the same people that would have traded for commodities. They're people who are already enslaved to them anyway. I don't want to really get into the political aspect of it because that's not my forte. When you look at how they went through the lines, the American press went through the lines looking for people of color to ask them how they feel about the Queen. All the people I saw were talking about how they love the Queen. There was one lady who said that the Queen's funeral with everybody in this, because she was in the line, everyone in the line reminded her of her mother who passed away in Ghana. And and the whole village came out to watch and see. And I just had this vision in my mind. So, you know, the dancing funeral processions in West Africa? I'm not gonna lie, that would have been awesome if they had that for Queen Elizabeth, but you know. Okay, sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, but most people talked about that they had benefited equally from being attached to England. They were able to migrate over to England and therefore they could make a better life for their children. A lot of people did that. My grandmother had a British passport. It is what it is. So now Don Lemon has his own morning show, which is really a step down. Speaking of reparations, you got some reparations, you got some tip there, some tokens. That is ultimately right before you get cancelled. The last time we talked about reparations was in 2015, where David Cameron addressed the Jamaican government, Portia Simpson, and said, oh, you want reparations? How about this? I will build you a prison, £38 million I will give you to build a prison in Jamaica where you can house all of the criminals who are deported because they do not have a status, but they are committing crimes. This is what I'm saying. It's crazy to ask for just money. What about the other nations that were involved in slavery and colonialists and whatever, who aren't as wealthy? Haiti had to pay back France. That happened. Haiti had a revolution and had to pay back France because France was like, but you burned our stuff down. So it is absolutely a fantasy world for anyone who talks about that. I heard a really nice quote today about hope. Fill one hand with hope and the other one with excrement and see which one fills up faster. I really am very happy that Hillary did not fill his head with a bunch of false promises and carrots and say, oh yes, of course, the whole of England is working on those reparations. We're actually putting it in an account right now as you speak. We are transferring the money, okay, from the crown. We're going to call it the Black People account. It's kind of like the Black American Express, but it's like the Black Express. But I'm glad she was just like, no. We have to talk about all sides of all things. Anyway, I just wanted to end this podcast with a couple of comments that I randomly picked that I thought were amazing. Please keep the comments coming because I love you all. I love your comments. You guys are so hilarious. Of course, there was this one, Leilani, what do you think of the viral CNN reporter who got shut down? Well, that's Don Lemon, and you see how I feel now. Another comment now. Did she name her next child Gangan yet? Talking about Meghan Markle and her 3rd pregnancy. Alleged. And I was like... I love that comment so much. I said, this is one of my fave comments ever. Because I was talking about all the nicknames that she's stolen for her first 2 children. And what will she come up with next? Oh, about my last video, his name, which was a redacted name in the article I shared, is Christopher Boozy. He owns the Bot Farm and is utterly despicable. Thank you for that. I know about him a little bit, but I did know that's who that article was referring to. Okay, I like this comment. King Charles should meet with her and make her sign an NDA. That's very dangerous because he needs to just not even do that. Because if she signs an NDA, the workaround for the NDA would be her being assaulted or criminal offense against her. And she would so easily come out with that. She has very good lawyers. Please remember she has good lawyers. The only way to come out of that would be to then accuse them of a crime. I like this comment about the tear. We talked a lot about the tear the one tear that she shed. And the one tear was falling from the center of the eye, not from the inner corner where tear ducts are.
Oh, house can still be home base.
Now make yourself cry. Yeah. Oh, I can do that so well. Oh my God, it's crazy. You're like, Meghan, one tear, left eye, go. Give me 3 seconds.
Very important point. Because unless you're a comic book that's like, just spouting tears. Yeah, it doesn't happen like that. Let me see what else was randomly picked. Oh, nice video, Leilani. Very imaginative and funny. Leilani, I think. You look great too. But keep it real. You're so much prettier when you're not thinking about being pretty. I did respond to that though. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. I said, really? And there I was thinking, the more I think of being pretty, the prettier I shall become. Yeah. Somebody thought I was pretty at some point in life. That's all I need to know. And I'm sure everyone has the same experience. Somebody thought all of us were pretty at some point in life. Okay, so I just wanted to leave it there. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. I will be back tomorrow. Lots of love to you. Bye.